Yo, YouTube, what's up? It's your boy Sports and Fitness Rants. Back with another video for you guys, man. This dude, man, Scottie Pippen, guys. Please click the like button, subscribe. Scottie Pippen, man, again. Now listen, folks, we all know about the Scottie Pippen, Michael Jordan drama that's been going on, that was going on, right? After the Last Dance documentary came out, people were upset. Pippen was upset, and some of the other Bulls players were upset because they're just jealous. That's what this comes down to, guys. This all comes down to jealousy and envy. Never envy or be jealous of somebody, guys. It's not healthy. It's not good. But anyway, I wasn't going to do a video on the Pippen-Michael Jordan dynamic because a lot of people covered this, and it was covered very well by a lot of channels. Guys like, shout out to Raw for TV, to Raw for Sports. Shout out to him. Shout out to the Dreamers Pro Show. They covered it very well. But I thought it was done. I thought it was gone. I thought that Pippen, he was going to do his book tour. He was going to do what he had to do to sell the books. And then that was going to be the end of it. He was going to go about his life again. And, we wouldn't be hearing any of this nonsense. But, ladies and gentlemen, Scottie Pippen has decided to continue his smear campaign of Michael Jordan's legacy, along with other guys like Nick Wright and Isaiah Thomas and Shannon Sharp, who we've gotten to the point now where these guys are literally making up lies. They're making up lies that never even happened. They're lying. They're just blatantly lying to you guys, man, about facts of NBA history. And it's sad because they may not think that people are going to do the homework, or they're not, maybe they don't know. But for those of us that lived through that time period, especially in the 90s, we know what we watched. And we know who Scottie Pippen was, okay, in relation to, his, part on that Bulls team, right, and his contributions. So in this latest thing, Scottie Pippen, I guess, was on a podcast, and he had some comments about why he felt he never won Defensive Player of the Year award. And he specifically blames Michael Jordan indirectly. And his exact quote was, he blames the media, and what he says is, that quote is, "I guess they were too busy watching Michael." So he's blaming the media for being too enamored with Michael Jordan to ever give him the credit he deserves. So once again, Scottie Pippen is blaming Michael Jordan for his shortcomings or for things that didn't happen to him. Now, guys, listen, this is a classic case of like how you should not be, right? How you should, if you have children and you're raising children, don't raise them like this. Raise them to not be like this, to not be so envious or to be so jealous of people or to blame people for your shortcomings. We've all had things in our life that weren't fair. We've all had things in our life that, we felt that, it was somebody else's fault why these things were happening to us. But the thing about it is, when you're in life and you're dealing with problems, you can't look to blame because these other people are not going to fix it for you, right? Because they're probably oblivious. Like to this day, I guarantee you, Michael Jordan was oblivious to a lot of this stuff about, that Scottie Pippen's saying now. As far as like, he's calling Phil Jackson a racist, and he believes that Michael Jordan used him as a prop. Just some of these nonsensical things that Scottie Pippen has said over the last couple of years, man. I bet you Michael Jordan is probably surprised by some of this stuff. Like, what? And then you never said anything to me, But the fact of the matter is, guys, let's take it from the top here. Defensive Player of the Year award, right? Pippen says that the media was too busy watching Jordan, which is why he never won. All right, first of all, that doesn't even make any sense, but whatever. I mean, if anything, that would have helped Scottie Pippen, right? Because everybody was always watching the Bulls. The Bulls were always on TV, right? And the reason that they were always on TV and that everybody watched them was because of Michael Jordan, not because of Scottie Pippen. Nobody was watching the Bulls because of Scottie Pippen. Now, did Scottie Pippen have his fans? Absolutely. Absolutely, there are Scottie Pippen fans out there. Scottie Pippen was a popular player. But let's keep things in context here, okay? All right? The people watched the Chicago Bulls because of Michael Jordan. Not because of Phil Jackson, not because of Tony Kukoc, not because of Jerry Krause, not because of Jerry Reinsdorf, not because of any other player. It was because of Michael Jordan, man. All right, keep it 100, guys, and be honest, all right? So, Scottie, first of all, be honest with yourself. The Bulls were who they were because of Michael Jordan, not because of you, man. Were you a contributor? Yes, absolutely. Did all you guys mean something? Yes, it wasn't. No one, it's a team sport, and we get that. But let's not get all crazy over here with this. All right? So Defensive Player of the Year award. First of all, guys, Michael Jordan was a better defensive player was a better defender than Scottie Pippen. All right? That's just straight up. He was a better defender. Now, what's been going on over the last several years is people have been trying to lift Scottie Pippen up to diminish Michael Jordan, and that's where the problem lies. Okay, because it's started over the last, like I said, over the last 4 or 5 years, I want to say, with this nonsense with some of these new generation fans that never saw the 80s and 90s players play, and they cannot get over the fact that everybody considers Michael Jordan the greatest basketball player. These young kids can't get over that, man. They cannot allow that to be. They just can't. So what they do, and what's been going on lately, is they've been diminishing the era of the 80s and the 90s, right? They try to diminish Jordan's competition. They try to diminish all the stuff that he accomplished in those eras by saying that it was a weaker era. But on the flip side of it, they're trying to elevate Scottie Pippen in the all-time rankings. Please, guys, help me understand this. How can you, on one hand, say that Michael Jordan's era was weak and that he played against weak competition, but yet his teammate was greater than we're giving him credit for? It doesn't make any sense, man. See what I'm saying? This breeds stupidity. All right, guys? Because the fact of the matter is, the 80s and the 90s was a very tough, hard-nosed era as far as defensive players go. Okay? And this is what leads into Scottie Pippen not winning Defensive Player of the Year. Now listen, if Scottie Pippen was going to win Defensive Player of the Year award, it would have been somewhere between the years of 1990 and 1995. It would have been in that 5-year span, guys. All right? Pippen came into the NBA. His first couple of years in the NBA, he was in the developmental stage, man. See, a lot of people are making it seem as Scottie Pippen came into the NBA running, that he came in the NBA and he was a finished product. He was already ready to go as soon as he came in the league. That was not the case, folks. Scottie Pippen took several years to develop, okay? Like most players do, all right? But when you compare him to a Michael Jordan who came into the NBA running, you see how the dynamic starts right there, right? So it was Michael Jordan's team from the start, okay? Michael Jordan came in there. There was no big-time player on the Bulls when Michael Jordan got there, hence why they had the number 3 pick in the draft. They weren't very good, okay? And Michael Jordan came in and immediately took over the city of Chicago. Took it over, man. Took over the NBA. Now, he wasn't the greatest player in the NBA when he first came in. You still had guys like Kareem, Magic, Bird, Dr. J, I think was still there. Moses Malone. You had big-time players, you know what I'm saying, that were still in the league, that were stars. But Michael Jordan was the brightest star when he came in. He was the brightest. He wasn't the greatest, but he was the brightest, man. All right? No one shined brighter than Michael Jordan. Nobody. So when you talk about this Defensive Player of the Year award and Scottie Pippen feeling as if, it's the media's fault because they weren't paying attention to him, he's making it seem as if Michael Jordan was winning these Defensive Player of the Year awards and that's why he didn't get them. They were watching Michael and I didn't get it. Dude, think about the great players. So like I said, Pippen had a 5-year window that I believe that he could have won Defensive Player of the Year in that 5-year window. After 95, Pippen was never the same. Okay? That last three-peat that the Bulls had, Scottie Pippen was hobbled in almost every single run that they made at the end of that dynasty. Scottie Pippen was no longer the elite defender that he was for the previous three-peat and in the year or so that Michael Jordan was out originally with the first retirement. So in my estimation, from 1990 to 1995 was his best 5-year window to win the Defensive Player of the Year award. Michael Jordan won the Defensive Player of the Year award in 1988. All right? Scottie Pippen was in his first year or second year when Jordan won that. Okay? So it wasn't like Michael Jordan was winning Defensive Player of the Year awards, in multiple years and Scottie Pippen was getting ignored. All right, so that's number one. All right, so when he's trying to make it seem, like I said, he's trying to make it seem as if Jordan did something to distract the people, as if he was getting these votes. Jordan had only won the one, right? Which was remarkable in itself. The second point is, Scottie Pippen, you're not a better defensive player than Michael Jordan overall. You're not. There were certain things, and I made a video, guys. You should check out the video I made about Michael Jordan and versus Scottie Pippen, the differences defensively. They were both great defenders, but the big thing that Michael Jordan had over Scottie Pippen was he was quicker. Michael Jordan was quicker than Scottie Pippen, and Michael Jordan had better instincts. Okay, he had better instincts, and he was more tenacious. When you talk about playing defense, okay, you have to have a mindset. It's a mindset. Okay, you can do all the defensive slide drills you want, man. That's not going to make you a great defensive player. It'll help your conditioning, right? It'll help you with certain things. But when it comes down to defense, right? At the core of it, it's all about your want to. It's all about your hustle. It's all about you digging in, man, and grinding on defense, man. Defense is ugly. That's why people don't want to play defense, all right? And Jordan was a more tenacious. He was more aggressive on the defensive end. Now, sometimes, like I said in my video, that hurt Michael Jordan because he would gamble oftentimes. But like I just said though, he was also had better instincts. So a lot of times when he gambled, they were calculated gambles. They were very good gambles. He would come out on top of those a lot more often than not. So when you take those three things into consideration, Michael Jordan was a better help defender than Scottie Pippen. Okay, hence why Michael Jordan had more seasons of 100 blocks than Scottie Pippen did. Okay. Michael Jordan led the league in steals more times than Scottie Pippen did. Scottie Pippen led the league in steals one time the season that Michael Jordan was out, the first season, or maybe the second season when Jordan came back. I believe he led the league in steals that year. Michael Jordan did it 3 times while also leading the league in scoring. Okay, so like when we're talking about Defensive Player of the Year, and if you look at Michael Jordan's Defensive Player of the Year award, his season, Scottie Pippen hasn't even sniffed a season like that. He never sniffed a season like that. He just never did, man. You know, Michael Jordan had over 100 blocks and 200 steals. He was the first player to do that. And the only other player to do that was Hakeem Olajuwon. Scottie Pippen never did that. And when you look at Scottie Pippen's body type, it would lend you to believe that he would be a greater defender than Michael Jordan. He had the longer arms, which was his advantage. He was taller, which was his advantage. So yes, like I said, there were things that Scottie Pippen did a little bit better than Michael Jordan on the defensive end. You know, but overall, defensively, Michael Jordan was more tenacious and just a better overall defender, okay? Michael Jordan could shut players down on the perimeter. Scottie Pippen didn't really have the ability to shut people down on the perimeter. What Scottie Pippen would do because of his long arms and his height advantage over Jordan is he would make it difficult for people to shoot over the top of him, and he would make it difficult for them to pass, right? You know, because he would be, he would be swarming with his arms and things like that. But what Michael Jordan could do defensively on the perimeter is Michael Jordan could take you completely out of the game. All right, Michael Jordan could shut you down on the perimeter. Okay, to the point where you weren't going to get any shots off. Okay, or you weren't even going to get the ball back once you threw it out. Okay, he was very good at denying the basketball because he was very better than Scottie Pippen at playing the passing lanes. So when you think about aspects of basketball, right, you have on-ball defense. Michael Jordan was a better on-ball defensive player than Scottie Pippen. Okay. Passing lanes. Michael Jordan was better in the passing lanes than Scottie Pippen was. When you talk about post defense, it wasn't even close, man. The other places, they were very close. I'm not saying that Michael Jordan was miles ahead of Scottie Pippen in any of these areas, but post defense, Michael Jordan was way ahead, light years ahead of Scottie Pippen in post defense. Because this is the thing. Even though Scottie Pippen might have been quote unquote bigger, taller than Michael Jordan, he wasn't necessarily stronger than Michael Jordan. And he damn sure wasn't tougher than Michael Jordan, okay? That was the problem with Pippen, was his mindset. His toughness wasn't there, right? But he wasn't even stronger than Jordan. People always talked about, I saw Michael Jordan posting up Anthony Mason in a postseason consistently, all right? When Anthony Mason outweighed Michael Jordan by about 40 pounds. But Michael Jordan was able to post him up and get a shot off consistently. Scottie Pippen could never be able to post up someone like a Anthony Mason. So the strength was there. People used to talk about how strong Michael Jordan was in relation to his size, okay? So when you think about the aspects of defense, and like I said, I covered this in another video, the fact that Scottie Pippen is blaming Michael Jordan for never winning a Defensive Player of the Year award, or he's blaming the media and using Michael Jordan as the crutch as to why they never voted him Defensive Player of the Year award, you have to look at those things right there, okay? So Michael Jordan was a better defender, which is why he won a Defensive Player of the Year award in his career, and Scottie Pippen didn't. But then if we look at, like I said, that 5-year window, who are the guys you're going against for Defensive Player of the Year award? Now this exposes the NBA today as opposed to the NBA back in the 80s and 90s. Look at the players that were up for Defensive Player of the Year awards. Okay? You have guys like David Robinson, right? Who's an all-time great defensive center, right? Great two-way center. You had Akeem Olajuwon, who might be, along with Bill Russell, the greatest defensive center of all time, right? And definitely one of the most skilled centers of all time. So now you have those two guys. Then you had guys like Michael Jordan. He was in the NBA, right? So he's going to get consideration. Okay, Michael Jordan was a great defender to the day he finished playing in the NBA. You had guys like Gary Payton, right, in the 90s, who obviously Gary Payton won the award in 1996. So like I said, Scottie Pippen's best year to win it probably would have been that year or the year before. So you had a guy like a Gary Payton, and you had guys like Dikembe Mutombo in the 90s, right? So, when you think about, great defensive players and players who never won an award, sometimes it just happens that way because of the era that you're in. Look at someone like a Tim Duncan, for example. People don't realize Tim Duncan never won a Defensive Player of the Year award, yet he has the most all-defensive selections in NBA history, I believe 15, right? But he never won a Defensive Player of the Year award. A lot of people may not know that. Now, Tim Duncan, I would say, is probably, just as great of a defender, if not a greater defender than Scottie Pippen at his position. Okay? I remember Tim Duncan in the 2003 NBA Finals against the New Jersey Nets. Tim Duncan, I think, had like a quadruple double game, and I think he averaged like 5 blocks and like 5 steals for the series or something ridiculous. He had some ridiculous numbers that he was putting up, though. But Tim Duncan was a great all-time defender. People would probably say he was better than Scottie Pippen in defense, or he was greater at defense longer than Scottie Pippen was, all right? And he never won Defensive Player of the Year award. So, if anyone should be mad about not winning a Defensive Player of the Year award, it would be someone like a Tim Duncan. But Tim Duncan doesn't worry about those kind of things because Tim Duncan is content with his career, and he should be. Tim Duncan is an all-time great. Same thing with Scottie Pippen. He's an all-time great, but yet Scottie Pippen is not content with his career. Guys, it's crazy. And like I said, it's sad for basketball that Scottie Pippen has resorted to basically using Michael Jordan as a scapegoat and blaming him for his entire life. I don't know. Does he blame Michael Jordan for, the way he looks? Does he blame Michael Jordan for that ridiculous hairstyle that he's got going on right now? Does he blame Michael Jordan for all these things? Does he blame Michael Jordan for his personal life issues that's going on? I don't know. But it's really sad that he's trying to, blame the media because they were watching Michael Jordan, and that's the reason that he didn't win Defensive Player of the Year award. No, dude, the reason that you didn't win Defensive Player of the Year award is because you weren't better than those other guys I just mentioned. And they were winning Defensive Player of the Year's awards. And like I said, you had about a 3, 4, or 5 year window where you could have won it, where you were at your peak defensively. Okay? And after that point, like I said, there were other all-time great defensive players that were winning awards, man. So when you talk about, like I said, the early 90s, the guys I mentioned, David Robinson's, Hakeem Olajuwon's, Michael Jordan's, even in the late 80s, Alvin Robinson's, Michael Cooper's, Sidney Moncrief's, you think about guys like a Joe Dumars, like all these guys were going to get votes for Defensive Player of the Year. And then, like I said, then you go into the mid to late 90s where you have the Gary Paytons of the world and you have the Dikembe Mutombos of the world, and then into the early 2000s where I think Scottie Pippen stopped playing in like 2002 or 2003 or something like that. So then you had guys like a Ben Wallace. You had all these other defensive guys, Rasheed Wallace, all these defensive guys, because that was a defensive era. So it's actually, it could be timing, could be part of the reason why Scottie didn't win the award. But for him to say that they were too busy watching Michael Jordan, like, Scottie, come on, man. What are we talking about here, dude? It don't make any sense, man. Michael Jordan went out of his way to praise Scottie Pippen on numerous occasions. A lot of people posted videos of Michael Jordan post-game press conferences, giving Scottie Pippen his props. So big ups to those people for exposing Scottie Pippen's nonsense when he tries to make it seem as if Michael Jordan was this selfish, player that, wanted all the light for himself and nothing for everybody else. There's so many interviews that you could pull up of Michael Jordan basically saying, I don't want this. See, that's the thing about Michael Jordan even to this day. Why do you think Michael Jordan doesn't have social media, right? Michael Jordan doesn't put himself out there on social media because Michael Jordan wants to be away from the spotlight. Michael Jordan was so big and he's so famous, He can't go outside and walk down the street, man. He can't do anything that normal people do, and it took a toll on him in his playing career, which is why he had to step away. People don't know about those kind of things. Pippen didn't have to deal with that kind of stuff, right? So the amount of pressure that Jordan was under during those Bulls dynasties, Pippen never sniffed that pressure. Jordan took that burden off of him and everybody else. But Scottie Pippen don't want to talk about those kind of things, right? He just wants to make it seem as if Michael Jordan was hogging all this stuff and he didn't leave none for nobody else. I mean, it's crazy to me. But it's whatever, guys. Let me know your thoughts and opinions on this whole thing. Scottie Pippen saying that the media was too busy watching Michael out there on the court, which he says is attributes to the reason that he never won Defensive Player of the Year award. I'm going to chalk it up to guys that he had a specific window he could have won it in because there were other all-time great defenders that he was playing in that era that he was playing in. It just happened to be that way. If Scottie Pippen played in this era, playing that kind of defense, he would have been a Defensive Player of the Year probably every year because who are the guys winning? Kawhi Leonard's never playing. Who Rudy Gobert? That's the greatest defender. Draymond Green? Come on, those guys are not better than Scottie Pippen was. Like I said, it just happened that Scottie Pippen played in an era where his peak defensive time came at a time where there were other all-time great defensive players, man. It just happened that way, Scottie. But you still made 9 all-defensive teams. People acknowledged your greatness on the defensive end. You're making it seem as if you never even won a all-defensive first team. Like they kept putting you on these second teams and they weren't giving you any shine. Like I said, playing with Michael Jordan actually helped you. So the fact that you made 9 of these all-defensive teams, part of that is attributed to playing with Michael Jordan, man. Okay? And the other part is your greatness. But the fact that you didn't win a Defensive Player of the Year award, it just happened that way, man. It just happened that way. It ain't got nothing to do with the media, giving, somebody else more love or watching Michael Jordan not paying attention to you. You guys were always on TV, man. People saw what you did, which is why you got as much shine as you did, right? This is why you were voted in as a 50 greatest player at that time, right? Because of Michael Jordan. Scottie Pippen, let me ask you a question, man. Scottie Pippen, I'm talking to you right now. Why did you have Michael Jordan elect you into the Hall of Fame? Why did you ask him to elect you into the Hall of Fame, right? You asked him to do that honor because you understood and you appreciated everything that he did for your career. That's the only thing that I can take from that, right? So, deep down, Pippen understands and he knows he's doing this, man, to try to get some kind of, rise or get some kind of, fame again, trying to get himself back in there and try to take some shine off of Michael Jordan. But Michael Jordan's hasn't been looking for the light. He ain't been asking for the light. The dude's walked away and is chilling somewhere on a yacht. And y'all over here worried about Michael Jordan trying to bash his legacy. His legacy can never be phased. Greatness speaks for itself, ladies and gentlemen. And Michael Jordan was the greatest.